And so popular, it resonated that he actually became a president in that show. Wow. And they were watching this and were like, this is really like a sane, creative, clear idea. And after that, they picked up on that and they decided, okay, we'll make him a president.
Wow.
And he became a president. That's the real story. That's the outrage. And people rely to him so much. And yes, there were doubts. He is not a career politician. He is, he's just a regular guy who became this. But he's so sincere.
Right.
And his position is so honest that when the time came for the showcase time right now,
right,
the guy is headlining this, and he's banging the shit out of it.
Right.
And I'm proud of the guy.
Yeah.
And it just tells the truth consolidates people.
Right.
Honesty consolidates people. And eventually, the difference between, let's say, Russia and Ukraine. In Ukraine, Ukrainian people chose this power, and they have this power.
Right.
In Russia, okay, power chose Russian people.
Right.
And it keeps on having Russian people up the ass. And they seem to be enjoying it. And they are afraid, the Russian government is afraid that Russians will finally understand that that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
And they cannot stand Ukraine right next to them.
Yeah.
And being able to see that in reality the government and the people and the relationship between them supposed to work this way in real democracy.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's get a little bit of your backstory first, because I've known you for 9 years now.
Right.
And you used to run a lot of things around Portland, in the Portland comedy scene. How long have you been in the U.S.?
I've been in the U.S. since 1991.
1991?
Yes.
Directly from Ukraine?
Directly from Ukraine.
Where were you born and raised in Ukraine?
I was born in Kiev. I was born in Kiev on Abalone.
Okay.
And 1968, and I was raised there until I left, pretty much.
Okay.
I was in the Soviet army for a couple of years.
Okay.
I formed my family, and then after Chernobyl, after a while, we were like, no, we can't stay here because the children, and we weren't sure what's going on, and we just didn't like being there. Obviously, it was not stable. It was not good for us as being a Jews, and a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, it's all difficult, but it's a typical story of the immigrants from that part of
right. So unstable conditions, unsafe conditions, especially for Ukrainian Jews.
Yes.
You come directly to Portland?
No. I lived in Los Angeles for the first 5 or 6 years. Then we moved to Bay Area. We lived there for almost 10 years. Then I moved to Portland.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you start doing comedy?
I started doing comedy in around 2002, with all the what was going on with the war and everything, and I just couldn't hold it inside me. And
right.
My wife gave me a present. She bought me an introductory class to stand-up.
Oh, really?
And I took it, and I loved it so much. I was like, oh my God. My first set that I did was at the San Jose Improv.
Okay.
That opened up practically simultaneously as I was taking this class.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, well, you have a graduation kind of show.
Right.
And then they put me on stage. I've never been on stage before, in front of 250 people at the Improv Club, which is one of the nicest fucking clubs out there. And I tasted it.
Yeah.
And it was marvelous.
You got the taste.
Yes, I got a taste. Sickness. I couldn't stop.
Dude, it's a disease.
It is.
Is stand-up... is there a version of stand-up in the Ukraine, and do people do that in the Ukraine?
Oh yeah,
a guy gets up and just does jokes.
They haven't done it before. Before it was all usually sketched out. Somebody has to assume some kind of character in order to be funny. Blah blah blah. Now I see that art is developing, and it's developing not only in Ukraine, actually in Russia. Okay. And it started as where usual stand-up starts. With a low brow, below the belt kind of joke, but I see it slowly progressing to like really good heights, but it's not political yet, but they're working towards it. And I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like it's growing across the globe,
Yeah.
But okay, so you're here you're observing from a distance. When was the last time you were in Ukraine?
I usually go to Ukraine pretty regularly because
Okay.
I do have business. I have colleagues there. I sell their products here. So last time was 2019.
Okay.
Before the epidemic.
Yeah.
After the epidemic, everything stopped. I was supposed to be there this February, actually.
Wow.
But I had to stop.
Right.
Because of all this.
Right.
So.
Now, you have family there?
I have, like, my in-law part of my family is there.
Okay.
My mother-in-law, my sister-in-law. There is we have four nephews there, and sister-in-law's husband.
And where are these people located?
They're in Kiev.
In Kiev.
They're in Kiev.
So
my colleagues are also in Kiev. I'm in touch with them every day.
Okay. And what are they saying? What is going on there for them right now?
They are absolutely resolved. They don't like what's going on, but they're calm. They're not panicking.
Yeah.
They're sheltering as they're supposed to shelter. They help the government the way they asked it. They're not unhappy with their government. They say, well, pretty much Russian ship.
Yeah.
Dot. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, can you give a sense to people who are not familiar? I mean, because like a lot of people I think are this week learning about the Ukraine and Russia and all this stuff. Can you give like a quick synopsis of why this conflict is going on, at least from your perspective?
Because Russia is scared of seeing the truth. The Russian government is scared of Russian people seeing the truth, and that normal democracy with a painful but rightful process can be in place. Mm-hmm. They're afraid for Russian people to see that, and that's why they want to make Ukraine a failed state, and where they can say, you see, only this is possible.
Right.
But normal democracy, no.
Okay.
That's the gist of it.
Okay. And the amount of, because, I think people are also a little confused, like, okay, so there's the country of Ukraine, but then there's these areas of Ukraine that are kind of more aligned with Russia. Can you tell people what that's about?
They tried to take chunk of Ukraine in 2014 when they tried to proclaim that the government that people chose is illegitimate, etc. It's all a mockery. It really the pretense was protect Russian-speaking people, and they started to pretend that Ukrainians are genocidal Nazis,
right?
Which never happened. But that was the pretense. They tried to hold and establish a legitimacy of what they're doing since 2014.
Yeah.
And nobody actually was genociding or threatening Russian-speaking people. It was just something that Russia cannot swallow, period.
Okay.
And they were trying to digest it for 8 years, and they're finally puking that out on the whole entire world right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's good. And I guess, like, from the people you're talking to and yourself, what is the ultimate fear here? That they would completely take over Ukraine? Is that like a realistic option? It's
not even a realistic option. Just from a simple military analysis of things, they don't have enough people to hold Ukraine. It's 40 million people. How do you occupy it and subdue them? No.
Right.
It's not going to happen. They were hoping for the fast war, and they just did not nobody wanted to deal with Russians. They were hoping that half of the Ukrainian population will open the gates and say, yeah, come in, please rule. And they were like, even the Russian speakers were like, fuck you.
Right.
We speak Russian, we speak whatever language we want. We are Ukrainians nonetheless.
Right. So now, then where does it go?
Where does it go? He tries to exit gracefully, and he can't.
Oh, he has to kind of walk.
He can't. You know where it's going to go tomorrow? It's going to go to ATM machines in Russia and Moscow tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to go.
Okay.
And when their ATM machines will start saying, sorry, we have no money for you.
Okay.
That's where it's going to go.
Wow. What is can you kind of retell a little bit of the story of the president, the Ukrainian president? So he came up through this world of kind of I don't even know which sketch comedy.
He came up through the world of sketch comedy and student comedy.
Yeah,
which became a major television show eventually. Mm-hmm. And people believed in him enough. They somehow it's interesting how people actually believed in the character
Right.
of being played on a show,
Yeah.
and they applied the same kind of qualities to the real person.
Yeah.
But what fascinates me that this real person, however imperfect he is, he actually did not fight it. He chose it, he picked it up, and he made it his own in sincere way.
Yeah.
That's what the story of the president is.
And like, is there like the traditional left and right in the Ukraine as Americans understand it? Is
Well,
he
yeah,
like,
obviously
is he
there
like a
are-
liberal guy? Is he where does he fall on line?
He is more on the liberal side.
Okay.
He is progressive. He is for, information technologies, for making Ukraine contemporary, etc. And, he is more or less on the side of, okay, there is a corruption. Corruption has to be dealt with. It's not something you can uproot real fast. But he's trying. Mm-hmm. There is a bunch of laws that he's taken that are proper and right. And that's why probably Russia really can't stand this, because the process is going.
Right.
He keeps the democracy going. People agree with him. People don't agree with him. People laugh at him. People defend him. It's all part of the same political process of democracy.
Right.
Because he's not a god. He's not Putin.
Right.
They do not prey on him. I mean, they do not pray to him, right? But they listen.
Mm-hmm. How do people in the Ukraine generally view Russia? Do they obviously, I imagine, don't like Putin, but do they what do they think about average Russians? Do they think
they absolutely understand that the average Russians are unfortunately powerless as far as the government tied them up by hands and but they still really wish that Russians could resist. There are passive forms of resistance that Russians can take. They can just disobedient silently. They can just not go to work, stop paying their taxes, things like that. They can do that. Mm-hmm. They can just stop everything, sabotage, silently.
And it seems like people in Russia are, at least, protesting right now.
There are people that are trying. Yes, the strongest of them go, and they're not afraid to be arrested because they're going to be prosecuted for everything they say. Minimum thing. They can't even say that Russia is at war. They have to call it special operation. Otherwise, they are being prosecuted.
Right.
That is. And Ukrainians understand that they are saddened for those Russian soldiers. They kill the ones that they kill, but the rest of them, they just feel sorry for them. They don't want to kill them. They let them run. They tell them, drop your weapons, run. We are not going to shoot you in the back. They. I'm sorry.
But there is a civilian resistance too.
Oh, absolutely. Civilian resistance. The numbers of people volunteering is outpacing the number of weapons that they can give out.
Right.
And they don't sit on their butts. They literally go, they stop the tank columns because women come out and men come out and they stop. They start just stand up front of the tank until it stops. Mm-hmm. They tell them things to their face,
right?
What they think. They demoralize them in a way. It's not like they're insulting them on purpose. They just tell them it is what it is, guys.
Right.
That's what you fucking do.
Right.
And those guys who barged into Ukraine, they were part of military maneuvers. And then all of a sudden, nobody goes to them, okay, we're going to liberate Ukraine. They just tell them, okay, you go in this direction. That's it.
Yeah.
And they show up and they don't even know what they did.
Right. They're somewhat clueless.
And Ukrainians understand that part.
That they're just kind of following orders.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Do you think most of I've read, some reports that these Russian soldiers are super young and they kind of are just like...
They're kids. They're conscripted kids like I was when they conscripted me. I was 18, 19, 20.
And
how much of an understanding of the world did I really have
at
that time? That's the same.
Yeah.
They're the same. There are contractors that they catch, and they don't deal with them very, as Trump says, very nicely.
You're right.
But...
What was your view of Trump's position with Russia and Putin?
Trump's position?
I mean, he seems to be kind of...
I literally imagine myself, Putin standing up, and Trump is actually on his knees.
Yeah.
You know, and probably Putin's zipper was kind of open a little bit, I think. And Trump was enjoying himself. That's the way my position is.
Is there a I don't know, large, but are you connected with other Ukrainians who live in the United States? Are there groups?
Well, I'm not part of any community per se, but I mean, I do have friends and families. Obviously, everybody is on the same page, except the ones that are not.
And okay, so tell me about those. There's
I mean, obviously, like in the normal American society, you know, there are different opinions. There are people that I know that like Trump, like my sister's boyfriend. They really have this problem going on. He likes Trump. He likes Putin. The way he grew up, maybe was a little bit oppressed. But what are you gonna do?
Right.
We kind of did talk with them. We tried to educate, but the rest, you know, part of the family. Okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Would you say there's? Are there? I don't even know how many, but are there some people in the Ukraine who, in some way, you think would welcome Putin and Russia? Like, is
if you would, the way I see it, if you take the population, 100% of Ukrainian people, 90% would be against Putin and maybe 10% would be for Putin. Those are the ones who sign up and watch Russian channels or Fox News, sort of speak things. Even though Fox News right now is actually getting better, I think. But one American network. Okay,
right, you're right. Yeah,
there.
Okay, so 90-10, huh?
Yeah. About that.
Okay.
So Putin really has no chance.
No. But it could be like a drawn out thing.
I doubt it.
You really think, like, what do you think, like in a week or two it'll be over?
I don't think in a way over, they will probably stop shelling. Okay. But political fallout for Ukraine, which is actually, I would probably see a political rise like a phoenix for Ukraine, and a fallout for Putin is going to take probably I would give it probably till fall time.
Yeah.
Because politically, it's a big mechanism. It starts folding gradually.
Right.
But eventually, he's out of the moves.
Yeah. He just played himself into a corner.
Yeah, he's just North Korea now. That's what he is.
Shit.
Yep.
But he has a lot of nukes.
He does. But you also have to remember that nukes are also sent by people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are you at all worried about him potentially?
I am worried about him, potentially, but I'm also considering the reality of things.
That, you know, he would know what that would mean.
Yeah, he definitely does, and I think all the other governments do.
Right.
And I think just because they don't say anything, it doesn't mean they don't do anything.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are expecting probably a high number of vacationers from NATO is gonna go and probably enjoy the sights of Ukraine and eastern Ukraine.
Yeah.
Just picturesque spots, etc. They will send a lot of nice pictures, I'm pretty sure. I mean, but the thing is that the floodgates are open. When Putin started hybrid war, he thought it's a one-way street, but it is not.
Right.
Everybody can do that.
Yeah.
Now.
Right.
So I don't think he realized that at the time.
He thought it was going to be kind of
it's just
in the
him.
Park. Yeah.
He's so cool.
Right.
But then everybody goes, you know what? This is kind of cool too. Let's fuck you up. So I don't know how politically correct I should be here.
No. I mean, this is why we got you on. We wanted the honest, we wanted someone's perspective who was, of the area and has people there, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy to see, because I feel like whatever you want to think of it, I don't think people are not used to. When they think of war, at least like my generation, Europe does not come to mind. It's just not really a thing that most people think of. Oh, it's in the Middle East. It's here. It's there. It's not here. And then when I think people were a little caught off guard, that it's like, oh, it could happen anywhere. It can happen anywhere.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Everybody, even I thought that Putin was kind of bluffing and it was a long drawn out game.
Oh, really?
But when he started, I was like, oh shit.
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But immediately I knew, I expected Ukrainians to act actually the way they acted.
Okay.
That was my perception, and it was absolutely true. And I'm surprised probably for the first time in my life.
Is Ukraine a very, like, before this, like, would you describe them as a very patriotic people?
Since see, we have this concept. It's a theatrical play that's been done in Stalin's time. It's called Kill the Dragon.
Kill the Dragon.
It's very prophetic theatrical play where the dragon, he demands a woman from the city, and obviously there was a knight that showed up, and you know the drama played out. But basically, what it comes down to, you have to kill the dragon in your own head.
Okay.
And that's what happened in Ukraine in 2013, 2014. Those people killed the dragon in their own head. Okay. They're not afraid to be of who they are. They're not afraid to have the state that is democratic, that goes through difficulties, but goes forward, that represents them. They made that change.
Tell people what happened in 2013, 2014.
The Maidan happened in 2014 when the Ukrainian government was after promising people to go into Western direction, made a direct commitment to go into under Russian influence.
Okay.
And that was against the will of the people.
Okay.
And they stood up and they said no. Eventually, it ended up of government being deposed and replaced
by this
by what we have now, by true democracy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Putin decided to take part of Ukraine and Crimea because that was in their plans since probably 1994, 96.
And why is those parts? Why are they interested in those parts?
It's strategical. And it's just very strategical for them.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
That's the simple. And they always thought, oh, this belongs to us.
Right. And is the Ukraine, like, are they in good partnerships with the countries that they're bordering? I mean, obviously not Russia, but the other countries around Ukraine, are they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First, you have to understand, the bordering countries, they're Slavic countries, more or less. Mm-hmm. And there is an understanding between them. The Czechoslovakia, Poland, and everybody is on the same wavelength. They're part of they're democratic. However difficult Poland is a little bit, on the religious rights, etc., they're nonetheless democratic. They're the same as Ukrainians. They travel and they see each other freely across the border. Mm-hmm. Everybody is Ukrainian society is very accepting society.
Okay.
They're open, just like Western society.
Okay.
So the neighbors are good. They have good relationship with neighbors. And besides that, Ukraine literally feeds a lot of people around them in Europe, in Africa, everywhere. Ukraine is like a breadbasket.
Okay.
Of the Europe.
That's what you do. That's the business you're in.
That's
correct?
The business I'm in. Yeah.
Is like wheat and gluten and stuff.
Wheat and gluten, and like this year, it even involves corn products, which is surprising. But economy works in mysterious ways.
Right. What was it like when you were a kid to now as a Jew in the Ukraine? Mm-hmm. When you were a kid, mm-hmm. and what was Jewish life and Jewish acceptance like?
Well, Jewish life practically don't exist. The city of 3 million people had one synagogue. That is ridiculous. We were not, let's say, people, normal, regular, everyday people were more or less okay. We did not suffer. There was no the prosecuting us or hunting us.
Yeah.
But the whole entire demeanor of the government, they would close up the official gates to say that we have a quota on this number of Jews, even, let's say, in a university, mm-hmm. etc.
Right.
So it was a government-sponsored, silent anti-Semitism.
Okay.
That's what it was. We were looked and spoken through the teeth, just because of the fact that our last name doesn't sound like Petrov, Ivanov, or Putin.
Right. It's a Jewish last name?
It's a Jewish it was a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Literally.
You couldn't hide it.
You couldn't hide it. You can stand in a subway, nobody looks at you differently until you say, "Okay, my last name is Brandt,"
Right.
and they go, you must be one of those,
And then now the president is Jewish.
Yeah.
So it's obviously people are much more comfortable with
They
it.
don't give a care.
It doesn't matter.
They don't give a shit who he is nationwide. I mean, nationality-wise, pardon me.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Jewish. He's Ukrainian Jewish.
Right.
It's fine. He's ours.
Right. That's good. I mean, that's a good sign of progress.
It is good. As a sign of progress, I don't know if I can come back to it, but yesterday they have a big dissident from Russia, Mikhail Khodorkovsky.
Okay.
You probably know him. He was in prison for a long time. Really rich guy who is in position to become a replacement for Putin. And he made a political statement yesterday that was heavily loaded.
What did he say?
He said that Russian people really should not be afraid of revolution, and that's the only way to come out. And revolution does not necessarily mean that this is a civil war. It's just stepping outside of the boundaries of laws that Putin created that makes him a president for life.
Right.
And makes it possible to put people in prison for saying something that they should say.
Yeah.
And it's a really... The send-off that the guy did, it's very politically, the verbiage is like a bomb that's going to explode in the brain of Russian people who hear it.
Do you know a fair amount of Russians?
I have Russian friends as well. I have my friend, my best friends lives in LA. He's actually from Siberia.
Okay.
So...
Are you in contact with any people in Russia these days?
No.
No. And, have you traveled in Russia much?
I've been to Russia a few times.
Okay.
Nothing to say that was special about it. It was more or less normal.
Okay.
I didn't have to face anything terrible.
No, yeah, but I'm just wondering, do you know or do you have any ideas of, what is the Russian people's opinion of Putin? I mean, obviously you probably have people who are, loyalists, but I mean, it just seems like, he's just cracking down on so many different people that eventually you must get tired of it.
Older generation people, the generation of people that actually watches TV screens, there are pretty well worked with by Russian propaganda.
They're just brainwashed.
And there is nostalgia which they instilled after the for Soviet Union, for supposedly stable times,
right?
Etc. So that affects them. The younger generation, they're fucking oblivious to Putin. They just don't wanna be in trouble, so they don't say much,
right.
But they really don't give up.
He's not their guy.
He's not their guy. They're not ready to die for him.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I mean, basically...
no.
Yeah.
They will not say, we're going to die on this hill for you.
Right. And that's why there's this internal opposition to this war, because people... It's not...
Yeah, that's why there is hope.
Yeah.
There is hope.
Well, that's actually good, I think.
I think so, but it's a tough period to live through.
Yes, of course. It's funny that there's similarities that the Americans who still watch TV are kind of brainwashed and, I guess it's everywhere.
Well, I mean, if you want to save yourself, read books. I guess that would be my answer.
Yeah, or listen to podcasts.
Or listen to podcasts or audio books for that matter, and actually listen to your local stand-up comedians, because we are full of shit, but every now and then we say prolific truth.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. How are you feeling about stand-up these days?
Fuck, as a war effort. I'm going to go... Every open mic is going to be a battlefield for me now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're just going out?
I'm just going to go to trenches. That's
it.
Yeah.
Do you miss not doing it as regularly?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
It's tough, right? Once you get it in you, dude, to not do it almost every night is
and if
rough.
you don't do it every night, you unload it on your clothes once and they suffer. So, probably.
Yeah. I know, man. It's crazy. I just if I go 2 days without it, I just get...
Yeah, I hear you.
I get so anxious.
Yeah.
It's just not fun.
Adrenaline junkie.
You have to have
humiliation
it.
junkie.
You have to. You need it in your life.
Yeah. Well, stand-up is kinky, and once you get into it,
I know,
it's hard to
everything
get
else is
out.
vanilla, dude. It's crazy.
Yep.
Well, like we can wrap up here in a bit. What things can Americans do to help the Ukrainian, and where can people get like real information? Because I often find that like, you know, like just, you know, you go through people and Americans are like, oh, I shared this article, and I'm always like, I don't know, do you know anything about this fucking thing? Like where should people go to actually get what's going on the ground?
Well, there are sources that I believe, and one of my favorite sources is censornet.
Censornet.com.ua. Okay, so that's a Ukrainian.
It's a Ukrainian. It's effort that it's a project of Yuri Butusov. He's one of most prominent, let's say, military analysis people.
Okay.
He's an analyst, and he is very well established. And the goal of what he does is actually to say factual things that can be verified and they're true.
Okay.
And that actually goes across all kind of misinformation and just destroys it like an icebreaker.
Yeah.
Once you start reading that, it's the best. I posted on my Facebook feed a link to Bank of Ukraine. There is a special account. If people want to help Ukrainian army and Ukrainian effort, you can easily just donate money as much as you want to.
Yeah.
Volunteers can go to Ukraine. They're being accepted, and I think, you know, it's happening.
Wow,
actually.
People are like going
ex-military
there
people, you know, veterans, they go from everywhere. They even go from Syria.
Wow.
Believe it or not, and various other countries that I don't know of.
Yeah, well,
but they do.
That's good.
Yeah, it is good. So, and Russian trolls are easily spotted on the internet, so go fight them, you guys, internet warriors.
I see a lot of... Well, okay, because I see some of these people, and I don't know if you know about this, but I see a lot of like very hardcore left-wing people who somehow are coming out on Putin's side. Do you know anything about this?
Russian trolls.
Russian
That's
trolls?
who they are. Yes.
It's just people who are... Yeah.
It's part of the same system. They established a pretty good manufacturing of those people. And useful idiots.
And useful idiots. What a good term, man.
Well,
we don't use that one enough
Bolsheviks
anymore.
invented it, and they did it well. You know?
Yeah.
But here's the funny part. Ukrainians were also part of that. So they know every technique that they deploy on them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and they probably perfected it.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
The Russian and like these big autocrats' ability to use the internet to just spread their messages insane.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, but internet is also a weapon in our hands,
right.
So we can actually use it and turn it back against them, which Anonymous Group did. And I love that shit.
Anonymous has been doing stuff. Yeah. I saw today that like the government themselves have been teaching people how to make Molotov cocktails.
Oh yeah, they call it Bandera smoothies.
Bandera smoothies.
Yes. So it's a good stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Ukrainians are the sense of humor of Ukrainian people is so deeply instilled in them.
Okay.
They're so funny. The memes that they come out are really funny. Like the one that I was laughing at when the state symbol of Russia is this mutated double-headed chicken.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But the state symbol of Ukraine is actually trident fork. So the chicken really doesn't fight the fork very well. It's very self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So that gives me joy.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thanks so much for coming through, man.
Thank you for doing this, man.
Yeah, we're trying to get the message out. And it's good to see you again.
Oh, you'll be seeing a lot more.
Oh, okay, good.
We'll get sick of each other, hopefully.
Yes. I mean, as all stand-ups do.
Sir,
all right,
thank
brother.
you.
Well, stay safe. Best to your family. I hope, we obviously hope things work out sooner rather than later. And, yeah.
That's it. Slava Ukraini!